Inside Number 9 is a British black comedy anthology television program that first aired in 2014. It is written by Reece, Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton and produced by the BBC. Each 30-minute episode is a self-contained story with new characters and a new setting, almost all starring Pemberton and Shearsmith, usually both. Aside from the writers, each episode has a new cast, allowing Inside Number 9 to attract a number of well-known actors. The stories are linked only by the number 9 in some way, typically taking from the form of a door marked with the number 9 and a brass hair statue that is in the background of all episodes. Themes and tones vary from episode to episode, but all have elements of comedy and horror or perverse humour, in addition to the plot twist. Pemberton and Shearsmith took inspiration from Inside Number 9 from an episode of Psychoville, a previous project which was filmed in a single room. This in turn was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Rope. Now in this review we are speaking purely about Season 8. The penultimate season in Inside Number 9. Now, unlike any other anthology series, Inside Number 9 not only reinvents itself for each episode, it literally covers a multi-type of genre, giving the writers many chances to experiment with different types of stories and elements. There is really no telling what you're going to find when you turn on an episode. In fact, the one episode, which is purely a quiz show, where neither Pemberton nor Shearsmith even appear in the episode, maybe even wonder if I'm watching the right series. Now, Season 8 starts with a Christmas special, namely The Bones of St. Nicholas, which channels the British tradition of ghost stories told at Christmas. This episode, like most of the series, is exquisitely shot and, of course, well acted. The plot twist at the end, of course, is always one of the things that you look forward to in the Inside Number 9 episodes, and this one doesn't disappoint, keeping the traditional Christmas spirit alive, but never overstepping the mark. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one thing about Inside Number 9 is expect the unexpected. And with episode 2 in the series, Mother's Ruin, it was now seance time, which surely would create a lot of controversy amongst the viewing public. This episode is definitely one of the more brutal in the show's history. It's dark, it's sordid and it's twisted, but boy, it's definitely entertaining. And the scene where Shearsmith's character literally has his foot cut off, well, will be one of those scenes that stays with me for a long time. The next episode's title, Paracadivi doesn't roll off the one's tongue, really, does it? However, this is a chaotic story about a man fearful of Friday the 13th, and I'm not referring to the movie. This is a more light-hearted episode, well within the context of Inside Number 9, of course, serving up some fantastic slapstick moments, and would definitely leave you laughing a bit more than some of the other ones. The next episode, Love is a Stranger, could almost be considered a bit too obvious for the likes of Inside Number 9. In saying that, though, Claire Rushbrook gives a magnificent performance here as the perpetually single woman looking for love in all the wrong places via a dating website. Even though the outcome seems somewhat predictable, it's still very fascinating. And through the fantastic storytelling and acting, the episode really holds your attention. My least favourite episode of this season, and maybe in all of Inside Number 9, was an episode called 3x3. Look, don't get me wrong, it's still very clever and well done, but I did miss the presence of Pemberton and Shearsmith in this one. And like I said earlier, I was almost confused. Was I actually really watching an Inside Number 9 episode? Or was I really watching the start of a new game show? Now, of course, initially, the episode was announced as being Hold On Tight, and would be broadcast on the 18th of May 2023. The episode, of course, was a hoax, tricking the audience before broadcasting the real episode 3x3, which was filmed to look like a pilot quiz show hosted by Lee Mack. The hoax involved creating fake photos, an advertising poster and clips for a trailer. The photo featured the show's stars and writers Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith, and guest star Robin Asquith was used to promote the episode. The episode appeared to be a parody of the 1970s ITV sitcom On the Buses, with Shearsmith playing the driver Clark, Pemberton as conductor Wolfie, and Asquith as a customer Mr. Cole. When 3x3 was broadcast instead of Hold On Tight, there were complaints on social media, with some viewers switching channels and not realizing that they were victims of a hoax. Others found clues that to 3x3 is the real episode, such as the title of the episode being a product of 3 times 3 equaling 9. There were also references to other Inside Number 9 episodes, such as the trial of Elizabeth Gage. Some fans of Inside Number 9 remain convinced, however, that Hold On Tight is a real episode and will appear on television at some point. After Series 8 ended, BBC Two scheduled a repeat of Series 7 episode Mr. King to air on the 1st of June 2023, but some fans believe this may have been another trick and instead Hold On Tight would be broadcast. Ultimately, it was Mr. King that was shown. Now look, when you realise that, you once again see the brilliance of these two creative men. In saying that though, albeit clever and interesting, 3x3 was probably, like I said, one of the more weaker episodes within Inside Number 9's canon. I also found the ending a little bit over the top, and not as clever and subtle as some of the other ones. In saying that, though, Lee Mack does a superb job here as the host of the General Knowledge Quiz Show. But probably one of the more emotional and hard-hitting episodes I've seen in Inside Number 9 is called The Last Weekend. This, of course, is the season finale, and it will give you a lot to process and think about. It tells the story of a couple, Joe and Chaz, who have been truly in love with each other for 9 years. It's a long time, but how long do they need to say goodbye? And there's a twist in this episode that really will blow you away, and it's really cruel, dark and sordid and twisted, and yet that's what makes Inside Number 9 so glorious to watch. Is that both Shearsmith and Pemberton will go places you didn't expect them to go, or end a beautiful episode that is sad, emotional and touching with a horrifying and graphic ending. Look, dips in quality are unavoidable when a series lasts as long as Inside Number 9 has, but in saying that though, each episode has its own merits. The writing is always excellent and original, and of course the acting from both Shearsmith and Pemberton, also amongst the various guest members of the cast who enjoy acting in each episode, is always wonderful to watch. Even if an episode doesn't have the perfect execution, there's always something that you can take out from each episode. Once again, another fascinating, intriguing, dark, twisted and sordid season has come to an end, and I will be sad to say goodbye to Inside Number 9 after season 9, but in the same breath, I cannot wait to see what these two geniuses come up with in the finale. Or rather, the pause, as both Pemberton and Shearsmith refer to it as, saying they wouldn't write episodes for some time, but it wouldn't necessarily be over. Inside Number 9, Season 8, gets a 9 out of 10.